We will find out as we check out the compositions. Yeah, Agility is back on that Pharah again, and they're not actually going to run Carve on the Mercy like we saw a little bit earlier today. Fate even going over to the Roadhog. So, no, okay, there's a Winston. I was going to be, I was like, that's cool. I like Roadhog. The picks are fun to watch, but it'd be an interesting comp if he would have stuck with that.
Yeah, we are going to see a somewhat mirror compositions, except we are not going to see the Mercy here from Immortals. So,
well, we saw a little bit of Mercy from Carve on Lijiang Tower earlier today, and it did look a little bit rough. So I think for comfort's sake, he's going to stick on the Zenyatta. We'll see how well it works out.
Cynic going down early. Cynic very early in this engagement, and Jaru going to town a little bit, but he's not actually finding that many kills.
Well, Fate did get taken up, but Jaru kind of getting chased away, and Agility's and Hype finish him off. Agility's now turning his attention back to the other members of Toronto eSports as the point begins to unlock, and Immortals going to claim that one first.
Now they are, and Hype's actually going to get his mech back towards the end of that. Couldn't quite kill the mini Diva, and now looking for more of these long-range shots, spamming over the buildings of Nepal to see if he can get a hit or two down. Onigod did manage to live through the vast majority of that last fight, and he is going to try and backcap.
Now they got to get there to stop him. Only Agility seems to be around. Has to jump into the point himself. That's a dangerous thing for Fair to do. Karov, meanwhile, going down. Cynic soon to follow, though, on the other side. So Toronto eSports, without their tank, it's a fair battle in the air, and that's one that Jaru is apparently going to win, and that's going to help Toronto eSports flip that point back. Crazy fight.
That was well played by Onigod. The distraction was there, and when you distract the Pharah and force her to deal with that Tracer, you're unlikely to get that kill, but you are taking out a huge amount of your opponent's damage and ability to stop people from going through choke points. So that trade, distracting the Pharah, very much worth it for Onigod.
You know, it really felt like Immortals in general got a little bit overeager there at the defense. Went a little bit too far forward, and they paid for it.
Definitely did. We are going to even things up on the control meter as the Pharahs sail back into action high above the Himalayas.
Yeah, that's right. Here comes the self-destruct, forcing the Pharmacy out of the air, and Snow gets caught. Hard to avoid that sometimes if you're playing the Mercy. Meanwhile, Ludi goes down, so both supports out of commission here. Self-destruct pop, but not gaining a lot for Toronto eSports. Immortals with a big opportunity here to flip the point back again. Agilities, he is not afraid to get up close with that Pharah, going after the Tracer now, taken down courtesy of Grim Reality, and they will flip it back.
And they didn't have to do anything besides use the self-destruct on the Diva. Once those supports went down, the lack of healing for Toronto eSports made it very easy for them to continue to go through. But that is a hell of a shot.
Wow, from downtown.
You know, that damage boosted rocket that really one-shot the Tracer, 180 damage.
Uh-oh. A little bit of mid-air rocket action going on, and Agility's not able to survive it. Note finishing him off again. Perfect opportunity for Jaru to come in here. He does have that barrage up if he wants to use it, and he may fire it into the point. They may not even need it, though. Toronto eSports all over this one. And as Hype gets demeched, I think they're going to flip it back pretty easily. Yeah, they do.
That's a really rough position to get in. The long-range body shot, damage boosted straight onto your Tracer.
Yep.
Nice aim, and have to keep your eyes to the skies in order to dodge out on that one. So mistake there from Grim Reality, and it ends up in a 6v5 engagement that Immortals should have been comfortable with had they had all 6 in that ult advantage.
Yeah, here we go. Sound barrier now used by Immortals. Didn't get to hit Agilities with that, though. Was a little bit out of range. He's got the barrage. Can't use it, though. Taken down by Jaru again, who's really been winning these Pharah versus Pharah mid-air battles.
Well, that's the advantage of having the Mercy there with you. Constant healing, constant damage boost makes it much easier if you can hit those mid-air rockets. And Immortals falling apart here a bit. Toronto eSports has been dominating ever since that first cap.
You know, I don't think you and I were super impressed with the Pharah from Agilities when we saw it a little bit earlier today, and I'm kind of getting the same vibe here. Now, they did win that round, but this one's looking a little bit less likely as we're already into overtime. Toronto eSports trying to stay alive. Tranquility, or Transcendence rather, used by Immortals. And whoa, that's a big barrage into a big res. Can Toronto eSports bring it back, though? I don't know. Kills coming in for both sides. Immortals may have found an opportunity here. Pulse Bomb not gaining a whole lot. Overtime still ticking away. And there's that self-destruct for Toronto eSports and Immortals. No kills from either one. I guess Note did get caught by Hyped. Either way, though, it's going to be a point for Toronto eSports. interesting round for Immortals. The Pharah not working out, quite as well as I think they were hoping. But it's a best of 5. They got a lot of rounds left.
We could talk about agilities not being as impressive on that Pharah, but it is harder to compete on the Pharah when you don't have the Mercy pocket healing you and pocket boosting you. So Kareev, if he can go back to that, we are going to take a look at Snow here on the res. This great positioning.
Yeah.
I mean, he's classic Mercy positioning. Just wait there. Get the big res off, and then you had the self-destruct to clear out the point at the end and make sure that they weren't going to be able to retake.
Right. Moving into Sanctum now. Looks like we may actually have agilities on that Roadhog. Fate over on the Reinhardt, hyped on the Zarya. Looks like they're going for a bit of a triple tank. Toronto eSports, meanwhile, still sticking with that aggressive comp, going for the 2-2-2 yet again.
And it does make it difficult for Jaru to cut through all of this meat, especially with the Zarya bubbles, if he gets that Dragon Blade, particularly when he doesn't have a nano boost.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how much damage he can get done with the Genji.
All right, hype, of course, back a little bit. Ooh, Jaru getting a little bit too aggro. Hard to be that aggressive against triple tank. I think he thought he was playing the other comp there for a second. Toronto eSports forced back, the point is unlocked, and Grim Reality does have to back away as he faces that pressure from Cynic. And Toronto eSports almost taking it. Whoa, Onigod staying alive on the edge there, somehow, some way. Pulse Bomb just thrown out. It was a 3-point shot, but it did not connect. Able to get the kill on the hype in the end, so Toronto eSports does at least get some control percent building.
Yeah, but Onigod zoned them all off the point so they could cap, so in the end, it's actually a huge success for them, even if that pulse bomb doesn't land, because it doesn't matter if he gets the kills as long as the percentage are building, and they end up getting the reinforcements back and then cleaning it up overall. So Immortals having some difficulties here. Running this tank composition. Fate, once again, we've only seen him on the Reinhardt for a few seconds at the tail end of Gibraltar.
So Karv's actually going to swap over to the Ana here. They decided they wanted to let the Zenyatta go. Need that nano boost with their comp. I think I definitely agree with that. Grim Reality fighting for his life there as Immortals tries to come in. We'll see if they can pick up any picks. Fate grabs 2, actually, surprisingly. There's a sound barrier coming in pretty late for Toronto eSports. Self-destruct, not picking a lot up, but Cynic getting 2 with that Primal Rage. Toronto eSports, they were in dire straits there during that fight, but were able to kind of keep it together for the moment anyway. Goodbye. Goodbye, Reinhardt.
The second time was the charm there. He had the charge cooldown for the first one, but the Diva Boop on the second one, no more charge to get it back on the platform. And Cynic, yes, finding people in the small room on the side of the point, able just to jam them into the corner and beat them to death against the wall. So, yeah, it is painful, I imagine, to have an angry gorilla punching you into a wall, Doa.
I have never had the experience, but I can imagine.
I'll set it up for you next time. You can tell me how it goes.
I'll let you know. Next time I go and try to anger a gorilla. Immortals with a couple ults coming into this one. Trying yet again. They may just be able to flip the point. No, there's a dive coming in from Toronto eSports. Sound barrier used on the Immortal side. Got to really be careful not to get knocked up. Nice transcendence by Toronto, actually. Coming in a little later. Oh, no! And Fate gets booped off again. There's the Graviton Surge, but there is absolutely no damage follow-up. That attack went about as poorly as it could have possibly gone for Immortals.
Well, they needed the Reinhardt swinging into the Graviton Surge because they didn't have anything else, Doa. They didn't have the tack visor coming up. Kareev was not yet there with the nano boost. So, yeah, the damage follow-up was nullified by the Reinhardt getting booped straight off the platform.
Yeah.
Could have gone differently had Fate been there, but Toronto dominant so far here in Nepal.
Well, they say you can't stop Fate, but apparently Toronto eSports is able to do it pretty well.
Are they going to run Reinhardt again on Shrine?
It'd be interesting. Watch that. One of those last fights again. I mean, he throws out the Graviton Surge here, but again, this was right after Fate took a dive off the cliff, and so you just don't have any damage to capitalize on that.
The Roadhog was also CC'd, right, as that Graviton Surge came through, so bummer, but they did everything they could in the waning seconds of that round. But great response from Toronto eSports, getting the necessary people CC'd or off the map.
All right, pretty mirrored comps again as we come in. Double Zenyatta again between both teams. And the fight over the point begins. Grim Reality finding that Tracer drill on the outside, just trying to build as much charge as he possibly can. Needs to be a bit careful here, going behind enemy lines. They may have found Ludi here. No? these fights early on can always be so protracted, but now the kills might start coming in. Toronto eSports with a little bit of control meter built up. Hype desuited on that D.Va. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, Immortals immediately falling back after losing that D.Va. Agilities with a kill on the way out, but Onigod chasing people down. Gotta be careful here.
Agilities, got reflected! He got reflected onto him!
Wow. Sick reflect from Agilities and Onigod. Yeah, you do not want to play hot potato with the pulse bomb.
Oh, man, you got to know how long that reflect lasts right there. It's just a mechanical error. It's not going to translate really into anything. He'll get that up again really soon, and it's not like Immortals is going to be able to take the point off of that one.
Good times.
That's just one of those sort of face... Oh, my. And it wasn't even... Well, he wasn't even close to being done with that.
Mistakes were made. Snow goes down. Agility picks up one with the Dragon Blade. Grim Reality, though, taken out. Immortals trying to bull rush back onto this point right now, but the initial ults didn't gain them a whole lot. It's a pretty even fight so far. Grim Reality has the pulse bomb. Up. Agilities with a kill onto Onigod.
Are going to be able to flip
it looks like, yeah, they can flip it. 50% for Toronto eSports, so a good first hold for them. Immortals has some catching up to do. Got some ults to do it with.
They did burn the sound barrier, so sound barrier advantage to Immortals.
Overwatch.
They should be able to hold out now against Jaru's Dragon Blade, depending on the timing of that ability. Agility's looking to see if he can find Onigod, and Kareev somehow just right-clicks Snow.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes. Verbo goes down in response. Immortals has lost the support as well. Jaru trying to come in from the side. He's got the Dragon Blade, but he's got no life. And Immortals looks like they're going to be able to hold this one for a little bit longer.
That was really important for Immortals. Agility's got about another 25% towards Dragon Blade, but yeah, sometimes that catches you on those peaks, and you start that fight without a support player, and it doesn't really mean that Immortals has to commit very hard in order to win.
Yep. Okay, so
they're gonna try
more ultimates up for Toronto now. Ooh, that was a close call. Uh-oh. Fate has to pop that Primal Rage. That's a pretty good trade. Pulse Bomb for Primal Rage. You'll take that one pretty much any day.
That was great, actually, for them. Good mind games there. Onigod checking his corners and winning out. So now they're going to wait it for it and then re-engage right after.
Yeah, they got some ultimates to use. Meanwhile, Immortals throwing Fate in the back. Jaru has that Dragon Blade. Here it comes. Looking for some kills. Trying to find somebody. Nobody quite yet. Still some health. He's backing away from Agilities. Self-destruct used, gets the kill onto Grim Reality. Immortals suffering a little bit here in this fight. Agilities wants to equalize though, takes out the opposing Genji, dies to Onigod though, and it's gonna be not quite flipped yet. There's the Transcendence for Toronto eSports. They're really committing to this one. It's a fairly even fight, but Immortals may have what it takes to come back. Yeah, now that Hyped and Fate, the tanks picking up kills. This might get stopped right here, right now. Another Pulse Bomb comes in, courtesy of Grim Reality, and that gives them enough damage to finish off Cynic. Looks like Toronto eSports, this push stuff for now. Jaru trying to do what he can, but not living for too long. Yeah, they're just going to pop the sound barrier, just get Toronto eSports off the points. They can't lose this one if they want to have a chance to win Nepal, and the time ticking away. Ooh, back in time, just at the last moment, but that may be about it. And Immortals looks like they will claim Shrine. So Toronto eSports 2-1 right now, still needing that last round to take Nepal.
Yeah, that's it's going to be a little bit rough still for Immortals, but at least they managed to make the comeback. Verbo died at the very beginning of the second to last fight. It got me a bit worried as Jaru was popping that Dragon Blade, but he makes it back in the nick of time for the final defense. And we'll take a look at Fate right here, mowing people down with the Tesla cannon. Inside a bubble, doing Winston things.
It was a pretty good re-engage for Immortals, right? I mean, Fate was able to get in the back lines already, like we saw, cause some problems. Jaru was zoned out very well by Agilities with his own Dragon Blade. And that brings us back to Sanctum. So, we'll see how things go. Immortals, yeah, going with a bit of a different comp than we saw last time. That triple tank not working out too well for them the first time around.
Now going back to the comfort picks that we've seen them run through most of this Contenders tournament.
Yep.
To this point. Toronto eSports looks like they will be mirroring.
Yeah, a fight on the high ground. As we nearly always see Onigod sneaking in from behind, getting a bit of damage onto Hyped before he exits from the early fight. A little bit of reflect fun from Agilities. Point about to unlock it now.
Both teams playing this really cautiously. Finally, somebody going in.
Ooh, yeah, Immortals going in hard, but Fate, the first to fall. They weren't able to keep him up. Agility's in a little bit of trouble as well. Oh, can he get back? He survives. That was a close call for Agilities. Now Cynic diving in on the vulnerable members of Immortals, but he's just going to stay on the point. Yeah, Toronto Esports happy to just take it early on. Agilities come through for a quick kill and reset onto Jaru. Cynic kind of a little bit confused here as he tried to go in really quick to Transcendence for Akari, really landing those left clicks, and that might help Immortals reclaim the point again already.
Now that actually killing Jaru was really clutch.
Ooh, grim reality. That's what it is for Toronto Esports right now. The reality is they're going to lose this point.
Jaru coming back and dying again very quickly, buying as much time on that control meter as he could. But Agility's dashing through there with the orb on him to give him the healing really makes a big difference as he's waiting for his teammates, and not enough damage to hunt him and Kariv down. So Toronto Esports, we're not going to see any forward defenses, not enough crowd control on Immortals to really control those gateways.
Indeed. Another big fight. Immortal dives in defensively. There's a Primal Rage.
Uh-oh, people getting knocked off the map right there.
It could be a problem. Yeah, that's a pretty good fight for Immortals. Dragon Blade doing work, and Toronto Esports going to have to go back to spawn after this one. Yep, that was about as easy a fight as you could hope for if you're the Immortals.
It was an expensive fight for them when it comes to the ult economy, but Verbo holds on to the sound barrier and looked like it's very close to mult up. Yep, they did in fact get slashed off the map there.
Yeah, snow went flying. Agility's got the kill, but I give the credit to Fate instead.
Cynic still sitting on the Primal Rage, and that's going to be a sound barrier dropped early.
Yeah, sound barrier used to try to keep people up. Fate does go down, though. Note caught him with the self-destruct. Self-destruct for Immortals now. Grim Reality taken out by Note as well. Coming up big on that Zarya right now. Kariv trying to keep the remaining members up. Here comes Jaru with the Dragon Blade. Waited out the Transcendence, and now he can go to work with that ultimate. Oh man, cutting up Kariv, and Toronto Esports looks like they're in prime position to take this point back again.
Verbo actually gets him.
Yeah.
Verbo may have been waiting there on the edge too, and decides that one kill's enough for him, and
he's going to reset. Yeah.
Jump off the side of the map. He was deep in enemy lines right there, so not enough time to actually make his way all the way back around to his team.
Oh, they're going to get a lot of control meter built up right away. Can Toronto Esports even get back there to contest? Yeah. They're there, but they need to win this fight. Immortals has the edge. There's the sound barrier for Toronto Esports, though. That's going to swing things around. Jaru with the Dragon Blade, looking for targets. Oh, wait, that was not Jaru. That was actually Agilities looking for targets, but Fate, the one who's going to be grabbing the kills early on with that Primal Rage. Toronto Esports losing members pretty quick here. And Immortals, what a back-and-forth map this has been.
It looked like a bit of miscommunication with Toronto Esports because they used the Primal Rage and the sound barrier nearly instantaneously, and Immortals hadn't really fully committed to that fight. Fate jumped out of the side and caught Snow on the high ground, sitting there attempting to shoot orbs over the point. He went down very, very fast, and Agility not only got the Dragon Blade, but 50% of another one as Grim's looking for an optimistic pulse bomb, and that's going to be a good one.
Okay, yeah, that one paid off. Lucio getting taken down, a lot of damage done in general with that as Immortals starts their second fight. Self-destruct not accomplishing a whole lot on the point right now. Toronto Esports trying to backdoor a little bit here as Immortals falls back. It's going to go ahead and speed boost in there. Kariv speeding in with his ultimate, trying to keep people up, trying to survive through the Dragon Blade from Jaru. Oh no, he gets it up right as he dies though. Verbo gets the knockoff. And those are all kills for Immortals on the feed right now. And it looks like as overtime ticks away, Immortals are going to tie up Nepal. Wow, doesn't get much more exciting than this.
No, are they going to bring it all the way back for a reverse sweep on the control map?
Well, reverse sweep into the match win if they can do that.
Impressive. So, going to the fifth point here, what is it going to be? Toronto probably hoping that it's Village.
And it looks like it's Shrine, actually. I was peering through the window.
It did look like Shrine, but
yeah.
Given that that was their strongest win so far, you see just clearing out the point with the self-destruct, not actually helping them retake.
The Agilities is trying to hide underneath the metal panel there. No one can see me back here. I'm underneath the panel.
He's still a pretty terrible ninja. He's very shiny.
I blend in with the other metal.
It's true. He can camouflage inside the shuttle.
That's right. It's a tricky ninja. Immortals jumping in now with the comp they use to start the comeback, I believe, here on Shrine a little bit earlier today. Certainly glad to see that one.
Your Genji impression's really good.
Thank you. I miss my calling. Could have been a cyber ninja.
It's not too late, though.
That's true.
I'd be happy to critically injure you.
I'll think about it. I'll get back to you on that one.
Trust me, I have the technology.
It's tempting. Can you rebuild me, though? That's the question. A lot of poking going on, but no kills just yet as the team skirmish over the early point here. Fate does go down, and that's going to be a take despite that for Immortals. They're going to get the point early, but they may not be able to hold on to it too long.
If they can stall this out there, it may be a worthy trade for them, depending on how much time they can actually buy. Note back onto the Soldier.
I mean, Hype is still alive.
Whoa, gotta be careful about that one. But they actually get two towards the end. Kariv hits a headshot onto Jaru, and with the respawn, they hold strong on Shrine.
Dude, Hyped and Kariv, the heroes of that hold right there. The healer tank synergy coming up big for Immortals, and they will already be up to near 30%. Pretty disastrous start for Toronto eSports.
Yeah, especially with Agilities just sneaking up towards that Dragon Blade. Grim Reality also, the distraction on Note prevented him from putting a lot of basically uncontested damage onto the point later in that fight. Made a huge, huge difference.
Yeah. All right, time to experience tranquility as Immortals tries to get a little bit of an edge in this fight. Dragon Blade coming in for Agilities as well. Gets two with the dash. And he's going to pick up even more. Kariv getting aggressive there too. And Toronto eSports completely routed. Uh-oh. They're going to have some ults coming into this next fight, but you might be a little bit worried because Immortals is going to have both of their tank ultimates, and that's some good stalling power. Check out this replay.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. Genji getting reset dashes in a small hallway. Pulse Bomb not really finding much of a mark there, but they hold on to the sound barrier. So Kariv goes ahead, uses the Transcendence. That's all they need.
Yep. Oh, let's break it down. Gonna break it down. Toronto eSports comes in, responding sound barrier for Immortals. They're gonna go ahead and toss the self-destruct in. No kills for Hyped on that one. And Jaru pulls out the Dragon Blade. He needs to get some big kills with that. He's got some healing power coming in from his Zenyatta, but he needs more. No kills at all. Toronto eSports still on the point right now. They can still possibly win this fight. Cynic does de-hype or de-mech hype. De-hypes him too, I guess, if you're all the mech. And they are building a lot of control meter on here, actually. But we're into overtime already for Immortals. They can lose this fight, and they would be just fine. And as, tac fives are used by Note to secure that, Toronto eSports will flip the point, but Immortals, with all the time in the world to build up some ults and come back and win this thing.
Yeah, Immortals, I think, could have played that better because the sound barrier is a bit preemptive from Toronto eSports, and had they just backed off and waited for the Dragon Blade to be used and counteracted with their own sound barrier instead of just popping, Verbo popping it immediately, I think they may have been able to hold that, but all the same, they take the fight, and you do see Jaru go ahead and get the window, the opening he needed after that sound barrier fell away, and Onigod going to get a very good pick.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, this is probably going to be a bit of an eco push for Immortals anyway, just trying to get in there and build some ultimates, but you don't want to lose your support like that.
No, you don't, and you still need protection. And when you're Immortals right now, you're thinking, okay, we have a push right now. Are we going to wait for Kariv to go ahead and get the Transcendence, or are we going to go in and try and roll the dice just with the Dragon Blade without a lot of healing or protection for Agilities?
Well, he's going to get, I was going to say, he landed some left hits, and he's got the Transcendence already if they need to use it. Kariv, actually able to take out Ludi on the other side. That's a lot of kills for Immortals coming in already. Transcendence used now just to try to keep people up, as I believe. Jaru not even getting to use his Dragon Blade as Agilities pulls out his. Grim Reality with the Pulse Bomb. They're going to flip the point. OT ticking away. This could be it right here, right now. Immortals trying to win it, and they do. Toronto eSports not able to get back to the point, and Immortals complete the run back here on Nepal, down 0-2, win it 3-2, and they will win day 2 of Contenders here.
And let's take a look at what Agilities brought us on this Genji. Consistently impressive as the playoffs went on. And not the most terribly difficult Genji play, but you got to reward their positioning as a team, catching everybody into that corner and using just enough there. Again, not popping the sound barrier, just going with the Transcendence, and then great follow-up from the rest of the team.
And they've had a few instances where they did not necessarily manage their ultimates very well, but you could see there at the end, maybe they felt the close of the night coming upon them, and they just, the extra surge, the final surge of adrenaline coming into the close of this event allowed them to push through. And that completes completes the qualifiers here for North America. So we have our 16 teams going into groups. Let's take a look at the bracket as it's complete, and we'll see. Well, I mean, there it is. This is how it
for day
ended
2
out.
anyway.
Yeah, just so you guys know, Kelvin and the Chipmunks was the team that ended up in 8th place in this bracket, so they will not actually be joining the group stages of Contenders Season 0. It will be Cloud9 returning from the Takeover 2 LAN that was already seeded into that spot.
Yeah, maybe a moment of silence
R.I.P. in peace.
for the meme team.
Yep.
That was about enough of a moment of silence for them. No, it was obviously fun having them, but somebody had to bid us adieu and we them, and it is going to be that team. And I want to say the
Kelvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to say the acronym because we had it showing earlier, but we've been saying Kelvin and the Chipmunks. So we'll just go with that. But yeah, let's actually look at the seeding then. So that was the end of the bracket. But seeding coming into the rest of the event is finalized. So we'll go down the left side at first. FaZe, LG Evil, FNR, GFE, Congarna, Renegades, Yikes, You Guys Get Paid, Selfless, all going to be on the top half there, and then matching them on the other side, Cloud9 getting that 9th seed. Immortals, with that victory we just witnessed, is going to be in 10th. In the 11th and 12th seeds, Toronto eSports and CLG. And then at the bottom of the pack, Tempo Storm, Envision, Hammers, and Team Liquid. And it promises to be an amazing group stage.
Yeah, Team Liquid barely.
Sick lineup.
Team Liquid barely getting in there, too. They were in that last match versus Kelvin and the Ripmunks, I guess, now. But, they barely pulled that one out. I was actually watching those games simultaneously during the semifinals, and that's not really an expectation that we had because Liquid has actually been looking much improved recently, so a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of other interesting teams to look forward to, too. FN or GFE. Got the acronym. Can they get the win later? Who knows? But they looked pretty decent yesterday when we saw them. And Envision, too. Maybe another team that a lot of people weren't expecting to make it as far as they did, but certainly deserving their spot.
I'm really surprised at the number of recently changed and or new rosters that placed very highly in this preliminary part of Contenders. And we can take that and say, okay, well, once you make the top 8, especially on day 1, you're guaranteed to be in. And you only have to make top 7 out of top 8 on day 2 to secure your spot. And these are very long days of open qualifiers. So these teams are maybe not playing their hardest or their best right now. But once the actual Contenders Season 0 group stage starts, that's when we're going to get the real picture.
Yeah, it's going to start to even out as far as, well, at that point we have 16 teams versus, 500 teams-ish. So we're going to start to really see how these teams play. And we've already learned a lot. I mean, I learned just how good Doa's impression of Genji is. We've also learned a little bit about the space-time continuum throughout this event.
I like to educate.
Thank you.
Anytime.
We're going to have to start some learning shows. PBS here's looking at you guys for if you're looking for any programming.
I'm back in the U.S. now.
Yeah.
You can hire me anytime. Mr. Doa's neighborhood. Let's do it.
We're going to have to really workshop some of these ideas, I think.
We'll think about it.
But anyway, in that case, I mean, I think that's about it for today. Of course, we will have the European qualifiers next weekend, and it's going to be more attuned to a European time zone. So you'll be joining us bright and early in the morning. We'll be starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time for the broadcasted matches. The offline matches will be occurring at 3 a.m. So, if you want to follow us on Twitter, to be there with us in spirit to help us along as we, sip our coffee continually, it would be really great at 3 a.m. But
all the Europeans will be happier with those time zones, not staying up so late for these finals, and not making the players play at horrendous times of night.
Yeah,
except for Shadowburn, I guess.
I was going to say, Shadowburn really didn't benefit from this.
They actually benefited. But in that case, I will leave it to you guys to join us next week. And it's been a great weekend launching the Overwatch Contenders. Here's looking at many more months of Overwatch action here, brought to you by Blizzard Entertainment. And this is Gillfrost signing off for this weekend. Have a good one.